Zacharias and Solignac on that front line. Really talented starting 11 once again for the visitors. It all comes down to that front two. How quickly can they get in and around that 18-yard box?
It's Louisville in the purple from right to left. El Paso in that light blue from left to right. Elvis Osmanovic in the yellow in charge of this one today. And we are underway from Lynn Family Stadium. Mogul sends it long. They want to play direct today. They go right through Winder and Lancaster pressing. Danny Cruz mentioned that they wanted to jump on El Paso here in the first 15 minutes to a half an hour. That was one of their strong suits out west in those first two games against Orange County. Felt they dominated the first half an hour of each of those games before they hit. Dense Pavkovic now to Navarro. Just joined ahead of this season. Mark Navarro sends it long. Why not with the wind? Did you count how many times that ball changed direction in the air?
On this right-hand side, no one steps out. And with the wind, you can just see the knuckle.
Has to be nice to make your debut next to a veteran of the ilk of Sean Tosh. Calming influence back there. Has so many responsibilities on this back line for Danny Cruz, and he is taken out hard by Liam Rose.
Come back the other way, there's just no need to force it if you're Dia there. So just see the rhythm coming involved. Great ball.
Ball through to Telefson. Diaz sliding out to meet it. Now Winder for Telefson. Telefson into Lancaster, falls for Winder. Put it wide. Tosh pressured by Zacharias, gives it away. Calvillo read it the whole time and breaks with it to Zacharias. Ricardo Zacharias to Solignac, far post, nobody home. Attack still alive. Shin slips it through to Solignac. Solignac to the far post. Header across the frame is initially mishandled by Morton, but he's able to corral it. On the numbers at Lynn Family Stadium today, they were expecting a potential record gate for their home opener. A home opener they've lost only once. It was 2020 against Pittsburgh. Navarro whips it in, and nobody touched it. He'll claim that goal himself. Morton never saw it. In a game so tight for 38 minutes, it's a quirky one, but it counts all the same.
Organization was just changing the point of attack, isolate a defender 1v1 as Navarro elects to come inside. That does two things. That shades Kyle Morton. Too much traffic, he can't see it, and when you whip a ball into a dangerous situation, good things happen. No one needs to touch it. It's a very tricky thing for, and as he's coming across, it's a very difficult ask for a striker too.
Long toss on the throw, and the bicycle into the hands of Diaz.
Navarro hits it with a lot of pace. When you see it's way too late for Kyle Morton, now you're looking at 1-0 down right before halftime.
And a yellow card issued to Mogul.
Point of attack, whether it's in the middle of the field, from an outside back to an outside back, you can see Mogul handful of the jersey of Zacharias.
Might cause some issues for El Paso. We saw in the first 5 to 10 minutes, they had trouble tracking some of those long balls, allowing Louisville in behind. Ever since then, it hasn't quite worked out the same. And here's Perez in space. Cuts it back to the penalty spot for Mushagalusa, but he scuffs it. Hit it down into the ground. They didn't catch it cleanly. And Benny Diaz, another easy save. That's officially the first shot on target of the day for Louisville.
This right side for LouCity has been very active. Telefson, Perez, two-man game, and it's a good idea.
Zacharias! Stunning Louisville at the Estopano end. El Paso up 2 right before the half.
It's let in. Ball from Diaz. You can just see the oncoming running. The anticipation to get in behind Kawasmi. And clinical finish.
Got beat by Zacharias coming right through. Perhaps the last kick of the ball here in this half. Diaz tracks it, grabs it, and there's a whistle to end the first half. It's El Paso 2, Louisville nothing.
Like you mentioned, probably would one couple plays back, well, what does he take that information? How does he bounce back from it, especially so young in their career? It comes down to the manager. Now, Danny Cruz is always supportive of his players. Go to film, say, look, you have the ability.
Navarro, early ball in. Diaz slides to knock it away from Solinak, who commits the foul. Again, it's Navarro down that right wing. And Solinak's going to pick up a yellow for playing spike ball down in the corner. Gonzalez to Mushagalusa. Matiti cuts, crosses toward the back post, and almost goes in. Caught up in that wind, Benny Diaz had to touch it over the bar.
1v1, we've seen it throughout his career. Here, Mushagalusa, I don't know if he has eyes for that goal, if he even means it. But just to put this thing, test the goalkeeper, Benny Diaz.
Louisville still with just one official shot on target. I don't know that they will actually credit a shot on that one for given away here at the back. One-on-one with Morton. That's 3 for El Paso. Nightmare at the back. Petar Petrovic makes them pay.
It's a big no-no to play this square, especially in your defensive half. But there's no reaction. Petrovic is the first to react to get in the better side of Perez. And once again, he crosses the ball down to the left-hand side of Kyle Martin. Too quick, too clinical. Well taken finish. Or is just playing direct into the feet of Lancaster, have players running off of him. Just haven't been decisive in any sort of situations in the middle third. LouCity hasn't.
Look at all this room now for Gomez. Waiting for some help. Josue Aron Gomez lays it inside to Calvillo. Solinak pushes it wide for Castichin. Castichin in front. Solinak there, saved by Martin. Somehow got his leg to it, otherwise it's 4. These teams have only ever met once previously. It was last July, a 1-0 win for Louisville on the road. El Paso more than returning the favor so far. Good ball into space for Perez.
Individual brilliance, that final pass. All of the above has been lacking for Danny Cruz and the boys in purple. Just haven't seen as many vertical runs from deep line positions or on that front line, whether it's Mushagalusa, Gonzalez. Ideas aren't there right now for LouCity once they get into the midfield third.
They are there again, and they're forced back again. Amadou Dia is forced to tuck in at center back after Jimenez came on. Here is Jimenez sending it in, knotted down, volley saved, rebound off the post. You know, just a second ago I said if that's not the day in a nutshell for Louisville, I don't know what is. That is.
And as he reads the second phase of this ball, the patience to let this thing come down, get a lot of contact in it with a lot of pace. Benny Diaz knows nothing about that initial save. And they're just so unlucky. And Gonzalez does everything right, body control, technique, to put it to that far post when he gets a second bite of the apple.
Calendar turns to April for next weekend. We know a little bit more about these teams. Early impressions on where Louisville and El Paso sort of measure up in their respective conferences.
Respectively, I think Louisville is still the standard in this Eastern Conference. Right after that are the Tampa Bay Rowdies, but they have a lot of turnover. Let's see what that looks like going forward for Neil Collins, J.J. Williams, Cal Jennings. Haven't really clicked at the moment. But just the maturity, the mature approach to the games on the road for Danny Cruz, taking all 6 points at Monterey Bay and Orange County. You can't look past that. Obviously not the best in performance here tonight. I think they're the #1 in Eastern Conference out of 3 games. In El Paso, kind of the opposite. Right? You would think they're at the bottom at home, losing all 3. But the way that they've came out.
And looking for more. Calvillo nods it down, saved by Morton.
Just the way that they've came out and really not been intimidated. Just sometimes how that ball bounces, just so unfortunate. But it's always interesting when you have these type of performances so early in the year versus the middle of the year versus late of the year. One thing about Danny Cruz, he has his finger on the locker room. He knows the pulse of these players. He's going to get the best of them down the long run.
Mogul's corner. Elder was there. Tellefson to the far post. And it's snatched by Diaz. We've seen a number of head-to-head collisions in this game.
And as this ball pops out to Tellefson, he has one thing on his mind, just trying to loop this thing.
Gomez.
Not top 10, what do they call it? Not top 10?
Not top 10. Louisville's going to have to lick the wounds and get right back at it. They have racked up the airline miles in the early portion of this season. Out to Orange County, back home to Louisville, out to Monterey Bay, back to Louisville, played a game at home, and now back out to Sacramento next weekend. Coming into the day, El Paso wanted to right the ship and find that first victory. Brian Clairhout said, I'm looking to get a good win, a good result, a clean sheet. I like to go in there, handle the energy, handle the crowd, and be organized and in control of the game. And mission accomplished for El Paso. Just waiting now for that final whistle to solidify the clean sheet. All eyes on Elvis Osmanovic. We'll let one more attack play out for El Paso. After an 0-3 start to the season for El Paso with 3 home losses, they come on the road to the fortress of Lynn Family Stadium and win 3-0.